get the mirror ball back out again.
1976. Do you remember? Did you have your platform shoes?
I actually did. I'm ashamed to say.
I had them too.
Yeah.
Oh, well, one pair.
I even had a Nehru jacket back in those days.
No kidding.
Yeah, it was bad. I had a scarf around the neck now and then. That's right. But Danny Terrio would have never caught me dancing like he did. Yeah, that would never happen.
There's a blast from the past.
For anybody of a certain age, Danny Terrio and disco, that kind of went together.
That's true. Silver Convention, get up and boogie.
One of the greatest commercials over Christmas was the Santa commercial with, who was the guy? John Travolta.
Yes.
And John Travolta is doing Santa
Dancing.
and then goes in and does his bit in the disco as Santa. Ho, ho, ho.
He can dance, I'm telling you.
He can dance. He's really, really good.
Yep.
Well, I'll tell you what. I am so excited about this particular time this morning because we have Dr. Gracia Etienne with us. He's a special guy for me anyway because I can walk today because he put 2 new knees in my knees. Not on one side, both sides. And I actually woke up during the one operation, and he told me how he did it. I wanted to go back to sleep because after he told me, I was like, oh, but he is really good. And I've got 2 knees because of that. So I thank him publicly right here on the air. But now, as a former orthopedic surgeon, he's gotten into something else for people who are suffering a different kind of problem. A lot of us today suffer depression, all kinds of different levels of it. And he has got a brand new idea here in the York area called the York PMS Clinic. And he's here to tell you about it this morning. First of all, Dr. Etienne, great to have you here. Always good talking to you, my friend.
Thank you so much, Gary. I'm glad to be here.
Well, tell us all about TMS this morning and maybe start from, what you do because you're located right up here on George Street at 1806 North George Street. But tell us a little bit about the TMS Clinic and how you got started with this whole thing.
Great. TMS Clinic is a locally owned and operated clinic concentrating solely on the treatment for depression and anxiety as well as OCD. In TMS, what it stands is transcranial magnetic stimulation.
Okay.
And it's a way to stimulate the brain and be able to help patients with depression and anxiety and OCD.
What makes this different from the ways that people are getting treated for various kinds of depression now?
Well, number one, TMS is non-invasive. There's absolutely no side effect with medications, no interactions with medications. The success rate is actually extremely high, 83% success rate with a 63% remission rate. And it's very well tolerated by patients because, and I can tell you, most of the patients are talking to you and having a conversation during the treatment. So there's absolutely no pain involved, well approved by FDA and covered by most insurances.
And you talk about non-invasive. This is something called NeuroStar that you got into here. It's like a machine. And, a lot of people hear the word electroshock therapy. We think back to those old days of putting stuff in your teeth and all that. This is not anything like that. But it is something that you actually partially put on your head there. Talk a little bit about it because I won't do as good a job describing it as you will. But I saw it, and it's kind of a thing where you can relax while you're doing it. It's not something where you worry about it.
That is correct. This is actually a very good analogy, the electric shock therapy. But this is completely different than shock therapy. Mm-hmm. If you remember shock therapy, for shock therapy, patients have great difficulty tolerating that, and they have to be in some type of anesthesia, whether it's deep sedation or general anesthesia. TMS actually uses magnetic pulses to activate the brain cells. And the strength of those pulses are just about the strength of when you're getting an MRI for your knee or your shoulder or something like that. So that is completely painless. And the goal is to activate or awaken those neurons, those cells, those brain cells, and get them to connect again, create a circuit between the cells, and then strengthen that circuit. And that's how we found out that patients will continue to be able to manage their life when their cells are connected.
So when you go to get this done, do you have to be referred by a doctor? Do you have to have someone, like when I came to see you about my knees, I had to be referred. But in this, it's a little bit different, isn't it?
Well, yes, I mean you can be referred by
Right.
physicians, obviously, or any healthcare providers.
Just like you would normally do now with going to a doctor.
Yes.
Yeah.
However, patients can actually reach out themselves. There are multiple ways. If you call the clinic, if you go on the website, if you stop by the office, and also there's a QR code. If you scan that, all of this would allow you to start the process, and then we follow through with the necessary paperwork.
Now, when you get there, okay, take us through. Like we're going through an appointment for our first time. How many treatments? I guess there probably differs with each individual. But one of the things when I went there the other week and walked in, I was met with a smile. I was met with a handshake. I was met with a hug. I was, going in, and people then sat down, and then I watched them talking to other people about, where have you been, and so forth. So there's a lot that goes into this before you get to that first treatment, right?
That is correct. And as you know from experience with me, I always consider that a well-informed patient is the best patient that you'll ever have.
Right.
So that's the first thing for us. We still call it a consultation, but for me, it's more like an informational consultation, making sure that the patient understands completely what this is about.
Right.
And obviously, some people may have some misunderstanding, misconceptions. You have to make sure you clear all that out and explaining the entire process with them. That's the first consultation. And at that visit also, we make sure that we take care of the benefit investigation, check the insurance companies, because we want to make sure that the patient is aware of what he or her responsibility will be at the end of the treatment. So, and then that's the first step.
Right.
Once the decision is made, that's when we actually proceed with further in the process.
Now, this machine, and I saw it, it's kind of like almost you lie back a little bit and you have a thing that kind of goes to your head, just kind of, it's not a whole thing goes around, so you were thinking about, well, I've got, a fear of tight places, nothing like that. But you're actually sitting back, relaxing in kind of a living room. And when you look at this machine, you talk to me a little bit about one area of the brain that really works on about the size of, not a golf ball, but not quite that big, but something in that level. Talk a little bit about that to people out there so they understand it.
Yeah, this is actually a valid question. There are other systems out there. The system that we use right now, it's called NeuroStar. The advantage with the NeuroStar is that you can do a focused treatment. Some systems have a helmet where the magnetic pulse is actually beamed toward the entire brain.
Right.
But what is important to understand is that the area of the brain that controlled mood and by definition
Right.
depression it's not the entire brain. It's actually about the size of a golf ball sitting over the left prefrontal cortex. So it's on the left side, just a little bit up front. So if you can target that area itself, so you don't have to send the MRI beam to the entire brain. And that's what this system allows us to do. On the first treatment, my patients will come in and we sit down, and just like you said,
Right.
we adjust the chair to almost like a beach chair position. So very comfortable. We make sure that your head, necks, and everything are in good place. Then we do what's called a mapping. And the mapping, that's very important for this system, because
Right.
the mapping allows you to determine the strength of that beam that you are sending to the brain cells, and also give you the location, the angles, and the tilts, so that you can give a more individualized treatment for that particular patient. And the importance of that is the fact that a complications is almost non-existent in that case.
Now, you talk about the sessions. They last for as little as 19 minutes a day. You talk about 36 treatment sessions, but a lot of people resume normal activities immediately after the treatment. So that's something that if you're suffering from depression at any level, it can be mild depression, can be more severe. This is something that might be for you. Talk a little bit about that and the 32 sessions that you'd actually go through. Is it 32? Am I correct?
36, yeah.
36, forgive me.
Yeah.
36 sessions you go through. Talk about why that's important.
Yeah, the first treatment, it's really the mapping in one treatment. But if you can understand, the goal of TMS is to, number one, reactivate the brain cells, because if you look at a PET scan of patients with depression versus a PET scan of a patient without depression, there's absolutely no activities because the brain cells are dormant. They are literally sleeping. So first, you have to awaken them. So
Right.
you reactivate them. So after the reactivation, activation now. They have to communicate with each other, and that's what the importance of the circuit. So you cannot just do one treatment and stop there. The last step is to strengthen those a connection, so you can understand. You don't go to physical therapy,
Right.
just lift the weight, or go to the gym and lift the weight once and say that's enough. You have to continue to do that to maintain and strengthen that, and that's how we can assure the durability of the effect of the treatment. So yeah, and the sorry.
No. But we talk about
Yeah.
OCD, we talk about depression. Are there stories that we're talking with Dr. Gracia, Etienne, this morning about the York TMS Clinic, which is located at 1806 North George Street right here in York? Is there any one story that stands out of people who have come in to be helped? I know you've helped a lot of people already, but tell me a little bit about one that maybe stands out in your mind, because I know one drew you to tears. We were talking earlier.
Yeah. Now you're getting me, because I'm going to be very emotional there. I may lose my voice. Yeah. I mean, again, like you said earlier, my original background is in orthopedics. And
Right.
let's be honest, orthopedics is the straightforward, cut it and fix it kind of
Right.
a deal. For me to move from that and managing a mental health clinic, it's quite different. But I am as passionate right now. I am as I'm not going to find another term, as passionate right now in pushing that mission to create an
Right.
awareness for this, because I see the change in patients' lives. I have testimonies. I have them.
Right.
I mean, earlier I was telling you about a patient who hasn't been able to go to work for 6 years.
Right.
6 years. And midway through treatments, she said, hey, listen, I am cleaning my basement right now. I am cleaning my closet. I have so many projects that I had in place, and I do. More importantly, recently, she called us. She said, I have so much energy. I'm going back to work. She actually
Wow.
went back to work after 6 years. I mean, depression can literally
Oh, yeah.
take your life away.
It can.
Okay. So to me, it's like, I don't feel like this is hocus pocus. This is a real deal. This is necessary. And that's very important.
Tell people about your hours right now each day, and they can come to see you at 1806. It's actually was a residence at one time. So when you walk in there, you're going to feel at home, believe me, because it was a home at one point in time. But tell people a little bit about how they can get hold of you. And this is something you want to check out. It's called the TMS, the York TMS Clinic. It's 1806 North George Street, New York, 17404. Hours, phone number, way to contact you.
Right now, we open from 7 to 5:30, but on weekdays, we have the opportunity to extend at any time. That's one advantage that we really push with our team. This is here for the community. So we are ready to do what's necessary. If we have to come on weekends, we're going to start extending times as the need would come. So this is very important for us, because this is our community. We are here for the community. We have, again, I don't know if I can slip that in, but we have our veterans community that I'm really looking forward
Right.
to see them taking advantage of this, because this is very important. We know what they give for this country, and it's time that we start giving back. Our cell number is 717-430-0434. And we are located right there at 1806 North George Street, just on the other side
Right.
of Wood 30, if you're going toward Manchester. And
Kind of up behind the CVS there a little
correct.
bit.
Yes. Stop by, see us. You don't even have to make an appointment. Our team is going to make you feel like you are home, and you will see that this is something that we are passionate about, and we're going to make it happen for this community.
And it's something that I'm endorsing because we are actually going to be pushing this for Dr. Etienne as well and talking more about it. Dr. Etienne is going to be on with us each week also to talk about medical things as well that he's experienced over the years. Maybe some of the questions that you have, and you can feel free to send a question into us at 833-478-4729. But if you're suffering from depression on any level right now, or some kind of thing like OCD, something like that, this might be for you. Why don't you check it out, find out more about it? You don't have to make a commitment, but come in and find out the information. Again, go to 1806 North George Street, right here in York, 17404. It's a York TMS clinic. There's a sign right out front. You'll see it right there. And you can call 717-430-0434. Dr. Etienne, we're looking forward to learning more about this as we move on. Thank you so much. And another opportunity for people who are suffering from depression to maybe get some very special kind of help.
Thank you so much, Gary.
Dr. Gracia, Etienne, with us here this morning on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK, still helping people in the community in such a wonderful way. We'll take a break. We'll come right back. 7:49 here on a Thursday morning.